Let's try that again.
Take two.
Take two. Welcome to the We Win Injury Law podcast. I'm Tyler Todd, your host, sitting here with my co-host, Jaron, the Snow Canyon Man Sandberg.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That's like, what's that movie, Spirited?
Yeah, that's it.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.
And it's like a huge insult.
I mean, we're not really trying to insult you, but good afternoon.
No, mine to you was.
Yours was to me.
Yeah, it
but
was.
Me to them was not.
Not.
Mine,
To all six of our listeners, we're not trying to insult
and
you.
mine back to you was also an insult.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so we're on the same page. Anyways, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk about autonomous vehicles, e-vehicles, self-driving vehicles, and at the crux of all the different things you're hearing out there with accidents and cars running into each other. And then I just saw a video the other day of a colleague who's at a conference that was in a driverless taxi.
Completely driverless.
So that's happening out there. And when there's an accident, who's at fault? So we're going to talk about that. And let's just dive right in. What's going on with Elon Musk? I don't want to get super political in this because I don't really honestly care. I mean, I care. That's horrible. I do care. It's our country. It's people's beliefs. It's people's, I mean, I get it. People feel strongly about it.
But is it when you say that, like, to some degree, it's what are me and Tyler going to do to change it?
I mean, maybe something, maybe big things, and people are doing big things. So if you're out there doing big things or trying to do big things, like, more power to you. I get it. But it kind of goes down to the religion thing too. Like, I just don't care. If you told me you were Buddhist and like wanted to like go move to Thailand and be a monk, I'd say good for you.
Yeah.
We'll miss you. I'd probably follow it up with good afternoon.
Yeah, at least.
But I'd say, okay, like, do your thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Or if you were whatever, I don't know. I just wouldn't, that stuff doesn't really like, I find it interesting to find out people's perspective, the way they think, the way they kind of like what motivates them. I do like that.
Yeah.
Where they're from, what their background is, because that's just engaging with people.
Well, I think people appreciate that. At the office, we have that joke that Tyler has 50 best friends because every client calls up and is like, well, I'm Tyler's best friend. Like, it's going to change how you maybe work their case or something. Like, I hear that a lot.
Which is good. Hopefully, and I'm glad people feel that way. I do enjoy engaging, like, getting to know people.
See, I'm more the people watcher. I'm the type that, like, I love watching people and what makes them tick. And you do it probably in a more engageful way.
Maybe. I don't know. I do feel like I'm a little shy too. Like, if I'm out, I'm a little shy. If I'm out at the gym or other places, I don't just go talk to people because I'm a little shy. And I'm trying to just get things done, right? You're just get
in the zone.
You're in your zone. But I love to find out what people, where they're from, why they think it. But then I don't care. Like, I care about the person. I just don't care. Like, I'm not going to look at you and be like, freaking weirdo. Like,
your politics or this or that or whatever.
Yeah, I find it interesting. And I have family members all over the spectrum of, where they lie in politics and religion and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really like matter who that person is. As long as they're a good human being, that's what I care about.
But the Elon Musk thing does seem like a little right? What he's doing government-wise feels, at least to some people, like, wait, why are you attacking someone's car? Like,
yeah, and I don't understand like why the Teslas around the country are being vandalized.
And why pick the car that has like cameras all over the thing?
Yeah, so you're gonna probably, it's gonna get reported to the police, and you're likely gonna get charged with a crime.
Okay, Tyler. Now, to our audience, you drive a Tesla.
I drive a Tesla. Yeah.
Have you parked any differently lately? Like, I need to be in a better lit place, or maybe closer to where the cameras are or anything?
No,
has it made any change?
Okay, so I have thought about it because I'm obviously not naive to what's going on out there and the sentiment towards Tesla and Elon Musk. I've thought about it, but we do live in Utah. So I felt that I'm a little probably safer here than if I were other places that have more of an anti-Musk feel.
Tyler,
and I don't even know what
you shouldn't feel safe.
I don't feel safe.
I mean, again, just like we were talking, those protests that I feel like were a little bit anti.
I don't even know.
They had those in town.
I've Googled kind of like peripherally, like, because the protests were this weekend, right? The hands off. I've Googled a little bit what it's all about. I don't really know what it's about. And I've Googled a little bit like, why do people hate Elon Musk? Or why do they hate Tesla? I don't know. I mean, I have an idea, right? Because Elon Musk is like in Trump's corner, and if you are anti-Trump, then you hate. I would imagine that you associate Trump with Musk, and then you hate Elon.
Musk is obviously known for Tesla, is in
Right.
Tesla's car.
So I get the connection.
But this is the interesting, I guess I'll say just the funny portion of it, right? Is your traditional folks who have traditionally bought a Tesla are maybe a little more environmental friendly.
Sure.
And especially depending on where you
a little
are.
more democratic, then that's...
I know, Tyler, you bought it because you were like, this is fast as hell, and you love going fast.
It's a super fun car to drive.
It's a fun car to drive.
I don't really care
And let's be honest, the very first thing when you got it, I was like, Tyler, take me in. I want to go fast too.
I wish I would say it was my environmental footprint, but I didn't think twice about that.
Didn't think twice about it.
So...
In fact, the environmental footprint is probably the one thing you don't like about it is like, I wish I could fill it up with gas.
Some would argue it's worse. Some would argue that the whole Tesla batteries are worse and it's more of a footprint. So,
but to the most part, those seemed like environmental friendly people. The reason they liked it was it's probably more liberal people that like
and you're
those
trying
cars.
like less fuel consumption and all those things and EV.
It's just funny that like if you're that person and that's why you bought the Tesla, and I'm not saying that it's all Tesla buyers because you're obviously a little different.
Well,
than
and
that.
I own two of them, and I almost bought the Cybertruck. To be honest, I mean, I was this close. I
was egging you on, like, do it, Cyberbeast.
I had it deliver. I had a delivery date and everything, and I just said no. I said no. I put it on pause, and finally just said no.
Yeah,
I'm not going to buy it because I kind of saw the trend with where it was going and all the different things. And I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. But I get the whole Elon thing. I get the Tesla thing. I get it. I just don't know. I don't want to this is not political. I don't want to be political.
But again, I'm just saying, then king the car of the person that maybe was more bought it for being environmentally friendly and was doing.
And the only thing I would care about is if you were in an accident in Tesla, call me. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see the perspective, to see what's going on. But to take it one step farther, when we're talking about e-vehicles, self-driving vehicles, the autonomous vehicles, and we see more and more crashes with Teslas because whether you like or dislike Elon Musk, I understand if the data is accurate, the Model Y is the most highest selling vehicle in the world, I think. So you got to say something for Tesla. And I didn't realize this. I thought Jeff Bezos was the wealthiest man in the world. It's Musk by a long shot.
Even with the current drop. Yeah, it's still quite a ways.
So say what you will about Elon Musk, his cars are good.
Doing well.
But what happens when they're on self-driving? And I will say this. One of the reasons why I bought the car was because of the self-driving. And I wanted to be more productive while we do kind of a mundane task, even though it is super vital in what we do and crucial that you're paying attention. I wanted to be more productive, and I understood that if you bought the self-driving mode, that you could essentially be on your phone and emailing and doing things as you're driving.
Yeah.
Especially like on rural highways when there's just no traffic and you're just cruising, right?
Yeah.
Even though that can be a very deadly
and to those listeners, tell me maybe a little bit, because this was new to me, and I know I've asked you about this too, but like, if you don't know anything about Teslas, you don't drive a Tesla, like, what are some of those extra features? Yeah,
so if you've never been in a Tesla, which I hear a lot, I've never been in this, the first time I've been in a Tesla, you can put it on self-drive, okay? And if you have like the full supervised self-drive mode, in fact, I have a buddy that has the Cybertruck, and he has that mode, and he was just telling me.
Is it an extra cost? Is it a cost?
It does cost
you pay a little extra to get that feature.
I think if like in the Cybertruck, it comes with it because it's an expensive vehicle and it comes with it. But you do generally have to pay extra. But I was talking to him, and he said he left his home in California, put it on self-drive, and until he went to the next charging station, I don't know where that was, didn't even look down, didn't even look up.
Really?
Was literally on self-drive the whole way. So when you put it on self-drive, like the full self-drive mode, and you put like in your destination, it will change lanes for you. It'll like speed up and slow down. It will turn on the signal. I mean, it does everything. It does everything. It's pretty unbelievable. You feel like you're like in an episode of the Jetsons. It's wild.
We finally arrived.
We've arrived. Like, it's not flying, but it's doing everything for you but flying.
Yeah, when are we going to get houses that like float in the air? I mean, that's kind of...
How about the cars first?
Or even just the hoverboard from Back to the Future. I'll settle for that.
That is awesome. That is cool. Do you know that forever I wanted the black Toyota truck from Back to the Future. That was like my dream car.
I think everyone that was a cool truck.
Is that, I don't know. That's like the coolest car ever. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, it does. It drives itself. Like it is amazing. But I think what happens is, like in the self-driving, they give you like a month or two of free time to test it.
Yeah.
And so I was doing it and I was testing it and it was really cool, but I still felt uncomfortable. And there were even times too when I was driving with my wife and I'm like, pretty good move, Tesla. Like that, I wouldn't have done that. Or, whoa, like, why are you doing that? That's stop. Don't do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So it came to a point where I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. I mean, it was cool and it could do so much as you're driving around. And I would drive when I was doing in that mode, I would have my hands like near the steering wheel because I was just nervous. And you sit there with your,
well, you're not used to it.
You're not used to it. You sit there with your foot like hovering between the brake and the gas pedal. And you're like, so it just became uncomfortable in all reality. And then to all you Elon Musk Tesla haters, I will say, good for you, because Tesla, it does not go the distances it says it's going to go.
No, every time I've driven with you and we've gone long distances, it never reaches that distance.
No. So if it says you have, let's just say 300 miles, which I've never seen my car say 300 miles. Like I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, if you look on the website, it's like range of 322. I've never seen 300, let alone 322 on my little like gauge.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you get like a full charge, let's say let's call it 300, but even though it's like 280 for round numbers and purposes of understanding, if it says 300, I might have 200.
Yeah. It's way less.
A range. Because when you're driving and let's say you go over the speed limit a little bit, which I never do.
Yeah.
Only occasionally.
I don't know who else drives over the speed limit. It's not us.
Not us. Leave early, slow down. We mean that. Look, I mean it. I try to live by it. Leave early, slow down. That's super important. On our radio show and all the things we do in a lot of social media, we say it. Leave early, slow down. That's our tagline. Well, I mean that.
And you have to, because in a Tesla, you're going to fill up 200 miles later. Or not fill up, but recharge.
Recharge. So it says you have 300. You really only have 200. And depending on how you drive, it may be less.
Yep.
So it's not that efficient. And then like the I don't know if you, again, all you Tesla Elon Musk haters, maybe you're like, yeah, right on. Like it's not that inexpensive. You're not saving money because if you have to charge, let's say I drive and currently we're sitting in St. George, Utah, and we go up and down because we have offices throughout the state of Utah. If I'm sitting in St. George, I leave St. George and I go to our office in Orem, let's say, I have to stop in Beaver, Utah.
And it's not 280 miles. It's not that far.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Not anywhere within that range or even significantly less than 320.
So if I drive up north, I have to stop in Beaver, which is about an hour and a half, 90 miles from here.
Yep.
I have to stop there because I won't make it to the next charging station, which is in Nephi, Utah. I might make it, but it's like you come in low.
You're cutting in close.
And I might either make it there or I have to get to like Provo. But if I do it there, then I'm coming in on like fumes or like 2%.
And I love that you say fumes. Like because I said refuel,
right.
Fumes. None of those apply to a Tesla.
None of those apply to a Tesla, but that's how you feel. Like I'm on fumes, and you're like,
I'm running on fumes, and you're like,
I got 3% battery.
Now, the same way that we all get that phone anxiety of when your battery's running at 10%, it's the same thing with the phone.
You have massive battery anxiety.
Yeah,
you do. Like there's no way around it. So
and there's been times when I know you're driving up. So then you're calling me. I'm like, oh, are you driving? You're like, no, I'm in a charging station. So,
and then they charge you. I mean, some people have like free charge for life, depending on what they have, or if they do YouTube videos, or when you bought it, who knows? I don't.
Yeah.
So it charges you every time you.
So from a mostly close to dead to a full charge, what's the charge on that for the average person?
Like the cost?
Yeah.
Like $25.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are too. So then you do that twice. On one way,
$50.
That's $50.
That's basically the same cost as my gas is on my car.
Right. And then you do it coming back, there's another $50, it's $100. So you're not really saving that much money. And it's just, I don't know. I love them and I hate them.
It's a love-hate relationship.
So in the comments, please let us know, why does everybody hate Elon? Make it simple, because I want to understand it. And if you don't hate Elon, tell me why. I want to know. I'm curious. I really want to know what people think about why they feel the way they do currently about Elon Musk, Tesla, all the things. Keep it simple though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, I want to bring something up, and I want to get your reaction. This is a 16-second video. This is a Tesla. This is Tesla avoiding using those safety features you're talking about.
Yeah.
We'll watch this, and then we can post it so they can clip this in. I don't know how that's done on our YouTube, but and maybe we'll describe it for those just listening.
Okay.
But I love this video.
Where is this video?
I think it
looks in Europe.
Yeah, it's in Europe somewhere. But this is the Tesla, right? Using that automatic, and a gentleman is falling into the road, right?
Whoa, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, see, at first glance, I thought,
so what happened was the Tesla was avoiding
the man falling. So watch it again.
And then it plows right into the... Oh, it did. Oh, gosh.
So saved him. So saved a gentleman falling, right? So a pedestrian's walking alongside this Tesla, and at the last minute, it makes it look like the Tesla just crashes head on into another vehicle, changes lanes into nowhere. So this is an interesting case.
Because honestly, I think there might have been injuries from the crash,
yep.
But it likely saved that man's life.
So, for certain, right? Falling over, he's saved. Now, again, let's assume that this person just had the autopilot on, okay? And assume maybe in the U.S., because I don't know Europe's law.
Is there any information about whether it's autopilot or not?
It didn't say on that clip. That's just a clip. I'm sure there is the real clip, but maybe we can find that and post that. But let's assume, again, that this was on autopilot. Liability starts to get really interesting on this one. Because you're the vehicle traveling that the Tesla head-on, hits head-on. The Tesla's more responsible than you.
Well, yeah, because the other car coming this direction.
Yeah, coming at the video.
Watch the camera.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything wrong. It's just driving.
It's just driving. And the Tesla owner, to some degree, can even make the argument that, I'm avoiding the falling man.
Well, let's be honest. That's going to be an issue of apportionment, right?
Yeah.
Because in all reality, this goes back to law school 101 in regards to this torts. Everything we do, you guys, is torts. So if you read John Grisham or have seen his movies like Runaway Jury, Pelican Brief, The Firm, he's great author, great movies. He wrote one called The King of Torts, also a great book. But everything we do is torts. So accidents like this is a tort. Slip and fall in a store at Starbucks is a tort.
Yeah.
The hot coffee and tea, it's a tort, right?
Yeah.
So when you have tort law, you have elements you have to prove. One, the first element is you got to have a duty.
Yeah.
So you can't just go after somebody that indirectly caused an accident or an injury that you have nothing to do with. The duty has to be to you.
Yeah.
And then that duty has to have been breached in some way, right?
Yeah.
By an act of omission or commission. And then that breach of that duty causes injury. But it can't just be but for. It can't just be a direct cause. It has to be proximately caused. And we spent like a year in law school about causation.
Yeah.
So that's a big issue because what caused the injury to the oncoming vehicle? Was it the man falling or the Tesla driver?
Or even Tesla's automation. That's where I think this gets interesting is, again, This is the self-driving feature that then, again, let's assume that it is.
Let's assume it's self-driving.
Because if not...
We're talking about that. We're talking about self-driving.
Because the accident could have been the guy runs the pedestrian over, right? If he didn't have any of the features on and he's just driving and doesn't see him. But let's assume that the car noticed the pedestrian and last minute avoids the crash.
And it does. I mean, look, from the perspective of a Tesla owner, the Tesla does. When it sees cars, motorcycles, when you're looking at the little dash on it, it sees everything. It's actually pretty phenomenal what it sees. And part of the reason when I'm driving, like self-driving, I feel like I have made the comment, I feel comfortable doing it because the car sees more than I do. I can't see everything around me like the way that the car does.
No, and again, even the first time you watch the video, and the first time I saw it too, I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, here's a case where the autonomous thing is just going wild and heads on a car, and then on second glance, you see that gentleman fall into the road.
I didn't see it the first time.
Yeah. Gentleman falls into the road right in front of what would have been the front passenger side of the Tesla.
I think it's amazing. So in that regard, that's where I'm like, Elon Musk, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what's been developed at Tesla.
Now, so again, if I'm the person that the Tesla hits, right? So Tesla heads on the other vehicle, avoiding falling on the pedestrian. If I'm in the other vehicle who did nothing wrong either,
Nothing wrong.
but do they have a claim against the Tesla owner, and do they have a claim against Tesla corporate? What are your initial thoughts, I guess? And again, I know that we analyze these from a lot of different angles. Now, on the one hand, again, this is in Europe, and
it's going to be really weird because I want to know what caused the man to fall. Was it a health episode?
No, it looks like he just trips. It's on, it's on cobblestone. And there's another video from a little bit of a different angle that I've seen, but I couldn't find it. And again, we'll post all this, links to this with the podcast, but it looks like he just trips. No negligence, but he's walking on cobblestone. He just tripped.
I mean, I think you're going to have some degree of culpability against Tesla and either the owner. Let's say it's the autopilot. Yeah. One, I think it's on the owner because the owners still have responsibility. They're in possession and control of the vehicle. It's like, it goes back to your DUI statutes, right? In most states around the country, and a lot of people don't recognize this or realize this, but let's say you're at the bar and you realize you've had one too many and you go and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to drive home. I'm going to go sleep it off. And what do? They go in, they get behind the wheel of their car, right? Yeah. It might be cold. Let's say they're in Chicago.
They turn on the heater.
They turn their car on because they turn the heater on and they're just going to sleep it off. They have no intention of driving. But at least in Utah, they are still culpable of a DUI.
Yep.
And oftentimes, many people do get arrested for a DUI with not even having driven the car.
Or at least that's their claim. Right?
At least that's their claim.
That's what I said every time.
But the statute reads that if you are in possession or control of your vehicle while impaired, that satisfies the statute for driving under the influence. Yeah. So I think that same type of analogy applies to Tesla owners, right? Mm-hmm. If you're still in possession and control of your vehicle, whether you're on autopilot or not, that's still on you.
And then there are some disclaimers. I've seen those pop up even on when
you and look, because I don't have the full self-driving on my Tesla, when I go into self-driving mode, it beeps at me constantly.
Yeah.
Like, put pressure on the steering wheel. It'll beep at me. And if I'm on my phone thinking like I'm okay because I'm in self-driving, I can maybe be productive, it'll beep at me and like, phone detected, and it'll like shut off autopilot if I don't put it down. Now,
so it knows.
There are hacks that you can get around it, and there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube or other, you can find hacks to get around that. I've chosen not to do those hacks because I actually want to be responsible behind the wheel. But Tesla, to answer your question, I don't know, just for putting the technology out there, is Tesla Inc. responsible?
Yeah.
And having it available? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's on the driver.
Yeah.
To be honest. And then the driver in that scenario with the man falling, I think the driver then can make an argument for apportionment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we hit you, but we also did so to avoid this man that fell. So, because if the man just stumbled because he's not watching where he's walking, then that man has some apportionment of liability.
So let's say we do find out the name of the man. Let's say he's independently wealthy. If you're the owner of the other vehicle, you obviously are going to want to include both of these people. Because the man, obviously the Tesla car doesn't swerve to avoid him if he's not there. So, but for him falling, none of this happens.
It was James Bond. It was in Europe.
So wait, when you think of James Bond, do you think of Pierce Brosnan?
I think of Pierce.
I always think of Daniel Craig. I'm a big Daniel Craig fan.
I mean, you're a little younger, and that's the most recent Bond.
And then I skip Pierce Brosnan, even though I love GoldenEye. I go back to Sean Connery, man.
You do?
Yeah.
Why? How?
They used to do those marathons.
Really?
They would run these marathons. I can't remember what channel it was on, but you could watch like Dr. No.
Oh, I know. I honestly, I forget that Sean Connery even was like, not just James Bond, but like for many people, the James Bond.
Yeah.
And for me, it was Pierce. But I mean, I like Daniel Craig. I think he's a great Bond. But for me, it was Pierce. And so when I see Pierce Brosnan now, because he just came out with a new show called Mobland.
Yeah.
And I'm curious whether it's any good or not. You see it and you're like, that's James Bond. He looks old. But he's old.
Because first of all, let's be honest. The reason I'm going to this is, one, we all have our favorite Bond. And so everyone can chime in on who's the best Bond. But he would never fall on just cobblestone. He'd be like avoiding like a gunshot or like an explosion.
A bad example.
Who trips all the, like Mr. McGee or the Naked
Mr.
Gun
Bean.
guy? They are doing. I
It was
read they were
Mr.
doing.
Bean. It was
Yeah,
Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean fell. That's Mr. Bean.
Fell.
Tesla just saved Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
But apparently that guy just died too. I understand. No, he didn't. I'm thinking PeeWee Herman.
Oh, he did.
I think that guy just died. PeeWee
I was
Herman.
gonna say Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean, I think, is still kicking. Mr. Bean.
You're gonna start a rumor that like Mr. Bean's dead and it'll go viral.
He's the one that fell.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean, are you okay? Are you okay? If you're out there, Mr. Bean, let us know.
Let the internet run with the guy in that Italy car.
Hey, send a thank you note to Elon.
Yeah.
Because that's wild.
He saved a great icon.
If that was, he did. I hate Mr. Bean. I don't know where you guys stand, but I don't like Mr. Bean stuff. I don't think he's that funny.
I think it's clever that he plays a bit.
It's clever. Like, it's okay. You're
now,
creative.
If he was really that odd
I don't
in real
think it's
life,
funny at all.
but it's kind of like what's the original SNL guy that was really odd too? That Jim Carrey did a movie portraying him.
I don't know.
To the moon or something. I can't remember. Anyways, some of those that I think like it'd be one thing if like you sat down with him and he's like the most normal guy ever, but then that's his bit and he never turns it off.
No, I just
that's what I feel like Pee-wee Herman was a really annoying bit that he did, and
kind of like Ryan Reynolds too.
Well, I think everyone can join on that hate. No, just
look. I've never been I'm especially not now with the whole Baldoni thing and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively thing. I've never been a Ryan Reynolds fan. I'm just going to say it. I don't think he's that funny. I don't, and I think he's a Will Ferrell wannabe. Every time I've seen him, especially in his old stuff, it's either he wants to be just like Jim Carrey or just wants to be Will Ferrell. Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Good
Ryan
afternoon.
Reynolds. Good afternoon. I just don't think he's that funny. I don't know. Sorry. Where were we?
James Bond falling in front of a car. Mr.
Bean was saved by Tesla. So I do think that it's the guy that probably fell, right?
Yeah.
And then the owner, because if it's on autopilot, because the question's going to be, right? If the injuries were significant, they probably did some accident reconstruction, right? How fast was the Tesla driving?
Yeah, was it going on the speed limit?
Were they going the speed limit? Did they have the ability to slam on the brakes to avoid the man falling?
And instead, the vehicle just turned.
Were they going too fast for the conditions? Because it did look like the sidewalks were crowded.
Yeah.
So would there be an argument that they were traveling too fast for the conditions or the environment?
Driving
with a number,
through a crowded area.
It
should have been going slower.
And so speed could have been an issue. A number of things could have been the issue. And also, too, I will say that Tesla, and this has scared me while driving, like on self-driving in my car, there have been a number of times where I'm cruising along, no one around, okay, no other cars, motorcyclists or bicyclists, nothing like triggering on the cameras. And all of a sudden, it'll jerk, just like that video, it'll jerk to the left to avoid a manhole.
Oh, it thinks a manhole is like it's avoiding like a child,
like
or
a hazard,
some hazard in the road, a pothole,
right? And it just detected the manhole that's in the middle of the road, and
that's interesting.
Jerks like, and almost like where I've had to like grab the wheel, and the car starts freaking out at you, right? Take the wheel, because that's kind of what it does. I don't know if it's take the wheel, but
I don't know why that's reminding me of that Jesus take the wheel, but it's like Elon take the wheel.
I picture Carrie Underwood. I hear a voice and I grab the wheel and I'm like, thank you, Carrie Underwood. Like
she saved you.
Yeah. So
saved you from the manhole.
It does do that.
Yeah.
It does do that. And it is scary.
Well, and this one too, again, and maybe this is one where we'd never agree with everyone. And so that's where you leave it up to 8 people to decide that apportionment. How much was the gentleman falling's fault? How much was the vehicle's fault?
For sure. But we're seeing a lot more. I mean, and we've heard about them. Tesla crashes where people have died in these crashes, whether they've rear-ended a semi truck or they've run into
lane change and a semi truck pushes it off.
Right. And so, and again, I think that one has culpability on Tesla.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have a product out there, it better be damn good, right?
Yeah.
And it better do what you say it's going to do.
Yeah.
Because people's lives are at risk.
Well, they're in your hands, especially if you're telling them it does it for you instead of you doing it.
So if you have, to some degree, right, if the owner is like, hey, I'm dependent on it doing what it says it does, and it says it's self-driving, well, they have an argument that's true.
Yeah.
Right?
This was Tesla, not me.
This is Tesla. They told me that I would get me from point A to point B when I put it in my navigation, and that it was going to take me there.
Yeah.
So there is a reliance on that, and I think Tesla has some responsibility for that. And I think there's been some major verdicts against Tesla for that very reason alone.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. right? Because if I have a product, right, and that's product liability issues, if you have a product that says it does something and doesn't do it, then that's a product defect.
Yeah.
And so you have some major product liability issues with Tesla and their self-driving not doing what they're representing that it should do.
And again, that goes back to kind of the theory of we're okay with, you wouldn't want to bankrupt Tesla with all these lawsuits, but at the same time, if you're launching products that people are kind of testing as they go,
it's going to take a lot. Some people might actually think differently than that. Some people are like, bankrupt Tesla.
But again, with new and emerging technologies, on the grand scale, it's a great idea. Right?
Yeah, well, and you want to promote new and innovative technology. So you don't want to stifle that. And that's the balance with government and the balance with laws, and even maybe to some degree, jury verdicts, right? Yeah. You don't want to stifle that. You want to encourage it and promote it, but to what end?
And that's sometimes where I think punitive damages really does send a message to the company like, hey, this wasn't just an accident. You went beyond that. And again, if the data came out that Tesla knew that their cars were having these issues and they let people drive them autonomously anyways, again, you could see those verdicts hiking up with the punitive damages portions.
And then when you see that Elon Musk is worth $400 billion, then you say, okay, there's got to be some accountability because this man or woman is dead or significantly impaired for the rest of their lives. What's the justice?
Yeah.
So if Elon Musk or Tesla can be worth $400 billion or in the trillions of dollars of value, this man's life or this woman's life, that's also, what's that worth?
Yeah. And we know too, like that one of the cases that we looked up before we were going on was a 2018 case where, didn't recognize that it was a person at night and hit a woman and killed her. And we know from pedestrian accidents, like, there's a little bit of science into it on the weight of the vehicle. We see this a lot with semi-trucks. Is a slow accident, but involving a 6-ton semi-truck with a big tractor on the back is going to be more serious maybe than a 40-mile-an-hour minivan. And so the same thing with a lot of these Teslas, they're actually pretty heavy with the electronic features. It's a heavy vehicle.
It's a heavy vehicle. It's a very heavy vehicle.
Very heavy vehicle involved in these crashes sometimes. And so I do think you better, if you're going to sell it as autonomous and they can do these self-driving modes, you better be damn sure it's not going to make mistakes. And when it does, you better be ready to compensate people for injuries.
And honestly, and you're absolutely right, because I think that's just a cost of doing business. I think I would argue that Tesla probably has that to some degree calculated into their P&Ls on, hey, we know that this is innovative. We know this is technology. It's not going to be perfect. Yeah. And when it causes crashes or impairs people or kills people, you better be ready to pay.
Yeah.
Because this is big. This is a big deal. And I can't stress that enough. When people have some level of impairment, maybe it might be paralysis in an extremity or total bowel destruction from your seatbelt, and now you have gastrointestinal issues for the rest of your life, and you can't eat a normal meal like you did ever again.
Yeah.
Those are life-changing events. And it goes back to, like we talked about in a different episode, if Vlad Guerrero Jr. can get $500 million for hitting a baseball, why can't these clients and these individuals that have suffered to no fault of their own, right?
It's one thing when it's their fault. That's kind of the work comp area of law.
Also be compensated millions and millions of dollars for that.
Yeah.
All right, it's great. People aren't tuning in every day to see that that person suffer and not be able to chew their food or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Or someone that ends up with being paraplegic from a spinal cord injury.
Right. That's not entertaining. Okay, so if they're not going to get $500 million because you don't have viewers from around the country watching him strike out.
There's not television rights that got that.
But that just tells you the dollars and where we value the dollar and what's important. And that's why when we argue that juries should award big verdicts for people that go through this, it shouldn't be like a crazy idea.
Yeah.
It should be like, you're right. That's fair.
Well, and again, I love the example that's sometimes used in jury voir dire, and it's, hey, what's a finger worth? And that, we've heard this a couple of times, and prospective jurors will throw out a number, 20, and of course you pick the smallest one, whoever threw out, but maybe you pick the biggest one, 50,000, 100,000. And then if you turn that and said, okay, well, great, we have a doctor waiting and we've got a big briefcase full of money. You ready to chop off your finger? We got $100,000 sitting here. And all of a sudden, the numbers start getting more realistic, right? People start saying, actually, I wouldn't cut my finger off for $100,000.
I don't want to do that.
That's not enough money, right? And that gets jurors thinking about when they put themselves in the shoes of that person that's hurt. I think most people, like, again, with the finger, I wouldn't chop my finger off for $100,000.
No, I don't want to go through the pain. I don't want to go through the issues of it and all the, no.
But
no.
And I'm sure there are some people out there that would chop their finger off for $100,000. We don't want them as a juror.
Right.
But I think the average person, you couldn't just walk, that'd be a great Mr. Beast video or something like, I have $100,000, chop your finger off and see if they'll do it.
We're ready.
We're ready. And I just don't think that when people really start thinking about this, when you sign up, would you sign up for never having a good night's sleep the rest of your life without this, a sleep aid or pain medication?
Look, I'll tell you, I'm dealing with a parotid gland infection. If anybody out there have dealt with a parotid gland infection, that's what I dealt with last week.
And in layman terms, what's parotid gland?
Like a salivary gland infection.
Basically on your right cheek.
Yeah, my face was swollen and my ears, that was like a nasty infection. So my eardrum was like pounding. I didn't sleep for like 3 nights and it was the worst. And so it provided some really good perspective on what clients go through, right?
With chronic pain.
That deal with it for months or years. And it goes back to what we talked about to start the show, right? I've really enjoyed getting perspective from people because that helps me, like, it's just, on food, culture, religion, whatever, just perspective is freedom.
Yeah.
It provided some really perspective on what people go through. And then what we do, right, as injury lawyers to say, that's why we're asking for you to pay what we think is fair for that, because what I went through just for those 3, 4, 5 days, I wouldn't want anyone to go through.
Yeah.
Like, it was miserable.
And so if you're someone that's, been injured in a gnarly Tesla accident, or it happened to be that the autonomous vehicle got way off. And again, it seems like we keep seeing a theme. It's the lane changing. That's kind of where it struggles. Some of the safety.
Or hitting something from behind to the rear.
You just didn't see it.
Right.
For whatever reason, or hitting a pedestrian that it didn't recognize as a person. Those kind of injuries, oh man, it's life-changing.
Reach out to us. And if there's questions, we obviously welcome the comments and we're happy to talk more about it. But if you have dealt with that, we want to know about it because the technology is only getting better. It's only getting more advanced. And like I said, I've seen like one time driving by where you look over and there's not a driver and you're like, what the heck? Yeah. But I just saw that. I just saw it on Facebook. Someone that was posting a video in the back of a taxi, no driver. It's happening. It's coming.
Yeah, this is coming.
And it's not just Tesla. It's all these other, I don't know some of the companies, but it's happening in these big cities.
And every car is trying to replicate Tesla. I mean, so it's coming.
It's coming.
Every big company's doing it.
If you've been injured, let us know and reach out to us. We're happy to. If you have lawyers, and I get it, and you have cases, but if you have some questions, we're happy to answer them. It's going to be interesting to see how technology from where we are today in 2025, even just over the next 5 years in 2030.
Oh, and even like the Uber cases, we see this a lot with technology. Just there's a lot of things shifting in the legal world as it relates to tech, apps, different things. There's a huge shift.
And if you've been injured and you think it might have the negligence of a big corporation, they have to be significant injuries, right? It's not like, but if you've been injured and you have suffered some life-altering event, talk to a lawyer. Reach out to us. We're happy to answer them. But you have rights and there's got to be justice. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do for all of our clients. For anyone out there watching, listening, it's all about justice. And it's all about doing what's right. Period. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I want Starbucks justice.
Starbucks justice.
Starbucks justice.
Tesla justice.